In a small town surrounded by mountains, there is an old tunnel that was once used as a railroad track. Now, the tunnel is no longer functional and has been abandoned by the locals due to the belief that the place is haunted. First story: shadows in the darkness. A photographer named David was intrigued by the horror stories and decided to explore the tunnel in search of eerie moments that he could capture. As night fell, David carefully entered the tunnel, armed with his camera and flashlight. However, the further he went, the darker and colder the air became. Suddenly, David felt something watching him from the shadows. The sound of footsteps followed his every step. David tried to stay calm and took some photos, hoping to capture evidence of the ghosts that were said to be there. As he was about to leave the tunnel, his flashlight suddenly went out and David fell to the ground. He felt a cold touch on his arm, making him scream in terror. However, when the flashlight came back on, there was nothing around. David ran out with bated breath, promising himself never to return to the tunnel again. Second story: meeting with the waiting spirit. An archaeology student, Maya, was interested in the history of the tunnel, which was said to have been used as a hiding place by soldiers during the war. She did some research at the city library and found photographs and records of mystical events that had occurred there. Maya desperately entered the tunnels alone during the day, carrying a map she found from the city archives. While exploring the dark passages, she hears strange sounds like the hissing of the wind, even though there are no windows there. Suddenly, she sees a shadowy figure walking in front of her, showing her the way out. Maya followed it without thinking, hoping to find answers to the mystery. However, the deeper she followed the shadow, the more lonely and cold the tunnel became. The shadow finally disappeared around the last corner, leaving Maya in total darkness. As she tried to find a way out, Maya heard whispering voices in her ears, calling her name. She tried not to panic, continuing to walk quickly until she found the exit. Once out of the tunnel, Maya felt relieved, but also felt that someone was chasing her from inside. Third story: the secret hidden in the tunnel. A writer named Sarah had heard many stories about the old tunnel, and she felt challenged to explore it herself in search of new inspiration. Despite being warned by the locals not to enter the tunnel, Sarah's curiosity eventually overcame her fear. On a cloudy afternoon, Sarah entered the tunnel cautiously, carrying her pen and notebook. Dim light filled the silent passageways. As she stepped deeper, she felt the air grow heavier and the atmosphere grow tense. Suddenly, at the end of a dark hallway, Sarah saw a faint light. She walked closer, and found a small room hidden in the tunnel. There, an old wooden drawer was slightly ajar. Sarah carefully opened the drawer and found a number of old photographs and a worn diary. In the diary, Sarah finds an account of the life of a tunnel dweller from the past who is labeled as insane by the townspeople. The resident believes that the tunnel is a gateway to another world and that he has been communicating with the spirits that live within. As Sarah was transfixed by the note, she heard footsteps coming from a different direction, down the hall. Quickly, she hid the diary and photos in her bag and hurried out of the small room. However, as she turned to exit, she noticed a faint shadow at the end of the previously empty hallway. Heart pounding, Sarah ran out of the tunnel, feeling suffocated by the thick air and the strange noises that filled the space around her. She promised herself that she would never return to the tunnel again, but the mixed curiosity and fear still haunted her in her dreams. Fourth story: the fight with darkness. A famous psychic, Michael, hears about mysterious happenings in the old tunnel and decides to investigate for himself. He comes with his full paranormal arsenal, a ghost detector, a thermal camera, and a log of the strange things that have happened there. In front of him, Michael saw a dark silhouette moving between the hallways. He quickly grabbed his thermal camera and tried to capture an image of the invisible creature. However, the closer he got, the stronger the chill and pressure he felt in the air around him. Suddenly, Michael's ghost detection device simply shut down. He fell to the ground, surrounded by total darkness. Strange voices began to fill his ears, calling his name in a creepy, guttural voice. Michael tried to maintain his composure, chanting the protective mantras he had learned over the years. With great struggle, Michael managed to revive his ghost detector. He found that the spirits around him were getting more and more active and didn't seem happy with him being there. Quickly, he ran out of the tunnel, breathless and heart-pounding. Michael returned home with new knowledge about the tunnel. But the terrifying experience left a deep mark on him. He knew that the tunnel held a great secret that might never be fully revealed to anyone. Fifth story, finding the courage in fear. A teenager named Ryan, who has always been curious about local horror stories, decides to prove that they are just myths. Cautiously, he enters the tunnel during the day, along with his friends who are also looking for an exciting experience. They strolled along the long hallway, laughing and teasing each other about how foolish they were to enter such a place. However, the deeper they went, the more tense the atmosphere around them became. Suddenly, one of Ryan's friends, Lisa, who was in the back, screamed in terror. She claimed to see a dark shadow moving beside them. Ryan and his friends initially took it as a joke, but when they heard strange noises and felt a sudden chill enclose them, they began to feel terrified. Ryan, trying to remain calm, decided to take the plunge and explore a dark alleyway that looked like the focal point of the paranormal activity. He felt that if he could capture evidence of these creatures' existence, he could prove that they had nothing to fear. However, the deeper she went, the more tense she became. He felt adrenaline rush through his body as he crept through dark corners and felt the presence of something invisible around him. Suddenly, at the end of the dark hallway, he saw a large shadow moving rapidly towards him. Quickly, Ryan grabbed his camera and took some photos as fast as he could. However, when he looked at the results, there was only an indistinct and vague dark image. However, he was sure that he saw something there, something that couldn't be described in words. Ryan and his friends escaped the tunnel, running as fast as they could out of the darkness. They were relieved when they finally reached the sun outside the tunnel. However, they knew that the experience would remain in their memories forever, as proof that the tunnel wasn't just another place. Each story about the old tunnel proves that it is not only a physical place, but also a place of mystery and fear for anyone who dares to enter it. While many are skeptical, these stories still remind us that there is a world out there that we cannot fully explore. And the tunnel remains a symbol of the unsolved mysteries in our limited lives.